I had to talk about this, even though I'm trapped on the wrong side of town. Trapped on the wrong side of town. Because the head of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, has just retired.
You know, I knew you were going to come with this.
He's stepping down effective immediately.
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it? Do you speak it? Do you speak it?
Jim Ryan failed in his job to block the merger, and that's why he's retiring. Aren't you passively admitting that it should have been blocked then?
Huh?
Well, no, it's a good deal. It should be approved. The regulators should let it through. Then why would Jim Ryan be fired for not successfully blocking the deal? You see how that works?
This doesn't make any sense.
And I guess maybe there's a part of me that does have some kind of hope. There is a part of me that
has hope
that with a new CEO can come a whole new different way that they interact with the fan base and the community.
Nope.
Come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. Y'all gotta do better than this, man. Y'all gotta do better than this. Come on, man. I'm done, man.
I want games. I want hype. I want demos. I want more of PlayStation pounding their chests and saying, hey, this is why you want to have a PlayStation.
Hey everyone, Dreamcast Guy here, and I have breaking news that PlayStation's Jim Ryan has been kidnapped by the Taliban. Keep coming!
If only Jim ever retired after he launched a console with no first-party games. If only he had sold less consoles than last gen. If only he had admitted that the console may shut down due to low sub numbers. If only he didn't beat previous hardware and software numbers. If only he had expanded Sony IPs into the movie and series space the way Phil did with Halo. If only the Last of Us series and Twisted Metal series had the low viewing numbers of Halo. If only he spent more time on podcasts rather than working. If only his games did not win Game of the Year. If only he left Sony on its knees instead of thriving at pole position. If only he lied and did not launch VR. If only he did that, he would be loved by the Xbox community. Pity he didn't know how to lose.
If only you would touch some goddamn grass. Why are we talking about Phil Spencer when today has to do with Jim Ryan? There ain't no question about it. If the first person you think of when you hear any news about Jim Ryan is Phil Spender, then no ifs and or buts, you gotta go see a shrink. Unfortunately, studies show that every time a PlayStation fanboy goes and sees a shrink, it actually makes them better at console whoring. So, Dr. Melfi, as hot as you are, I'm gonna have to ask you to step down. I know. You're worried about these guys' mental health, especially after you saw Reforge Gaming.
I'm never gonna tell Alex what to do with his content, but I think people need to start considering the psychological ramifications of constantly roasting, making fun of, and mocking people on the internet.
What are you gonna do about it? Huh?
What are we gonna do one day if somebody like MBG just gets tired of the hate, gets tired of being salted, memed on, hated on, mocked, attacked, and one day he's gone? We wake up and there's a news report. What are we gonna think then?
Oh. Oops, sorry. I thought you might have been dying or passing away there. No, that's okay.
Believe me, nobody wants to see any grown-ass adult commit game over on themselves in real life over goddamn console wars. Here lies Reforge Gaming, a great father lost to the console wars. Actually, I think about it, it'd be probably the first funeral I ever laugh at.
He's funny, I like him.
God, I don't know what the point of this tweet is. These ponies are acting like Jim Ryan just died. Now, I don't know why you're seeking approval for Jim Ryan from the Xbox community. That makes no sense. If only Jim Ryan was Phil Spencer, then the Xbox guys would like him. I guess that's the whole point. You know, it makes no goddamn sense. When the PS5 is in first place, Why do you seek the approval of those in last place? Who cares if Xbox guys like Phil or not? What really matters is that the PlayStation guys didn't. You know, the people who buy Jim's products. You see, if only Jim Ryan didn't release an underwhelming tablet that's useless without a $500 box. If only Jim Ryan didn't release underwhelming PlayStation earbuds.
Stop showing me earbuds. Stop showing me earbuds.
If only Jim Ryan could have prevented the ABK merger. If only Jim Ryan would stop trying to appeal to the Western market while drastically shrinking his Japanese share of the market. If only Jim would stop putting out the same repetitive third-person action-adventure games with stealth elements. If only Jim Ryan didn't raise the price of the console, the services, and the games, then maybe, just maybe PlayStation fans wouldn't be celebrating him being gone. Because that's who's celebrating this, not the Xbox guys. Jim Ryan thanks the PlayStation community as he announces his plans to retire from Sony Interactive Entertainment in March 2024.
Better than any showcase. Best news in years for PlayStation. Old Sony happiness is back. Sony.
He's funny, I like him.
This is why I said Payo should be the next CEO of PlayStation. We need someone who can trigger their own community this hard. Someone who's willing to create a civil war within their own community, has got great leadership skills. I mean, I gotta hand it to Payo. At least he's not too scared to admit he doesn't like Jim due to the PC ports and sparse schedule of releases. He was one of the few ponies out there that agreed with me about how Jim was wasting valuable resources trying to stop the ABK merger, and he would have rather had Jim working on games and working on more console services.
That nigga took our money, man. I seen it coming.
As a huge PlayStation fan, there are reasons why I have this guy muted. Fake, toxic positivity with bait, shallow engagement posts. I'm sure you're a good guy without your act, but go back to eating and destroying PlayStation packaging.
Let them fight.
The great pony civil war of 2023 has commenced, and I'm all here for it. Please, destroy each other. Let them fight. My money's on Payo, because obviously he has the muscles. Now, I don't know how you could be upset at Payo, because he's glad Jim is gone for the right reasons, for the most part. Like many other PlayStation fans, he wasn't a fan of the price hikes, the inconsistent release schedule of first-party games, the reveal of useless hardware that he has no interest in, and obviously, as the tweet implies, a lack of a good showcase for Sony. The dude's got valid reasons for being happy that Jim's on his way out, because while Jim Ryan was a great asset to PlayStation and good for the company, that means nothing for the players. To mute over such a tame opinion is hilarious. I remember when the ponies were practically begging for Jim Ryan to be eradicated because he was porting to PC. A year later, they're acting like the man just died. At the very least, Payo is consistent. A year ago, he very much wanted Jim Ryan gone. A year later, he's happy about it. At least he's consistent.
I often avoid these types of talk because this dude's reaction is just laughable. Jim Ryan was the guy who helped the PlayStation rise in its early days. He helped build the legacy that guys like Pato cherish and is now leaving Sony with a strong momentum. He was a true businessman.
Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
What does that mean to someone like Payo, who's only in it for the games and the content? How much money Jim Ryan made the company means nothing to Payo when there's no games for him to play. And it's not like the success of this entire corporation was all thanks to Jim Ryan. PlayStation has had many CEOs. Hell, he was only put in that position in 2019. Hell, PlayStation's best years were not under Jim. In fact, some would argue the minute he took that position is exactly the moment the content output for PlayStation slowed down drastically. So it's not like Payo doesn't have any legitimate reason to be happy Jim is leaving. And trust me, I've been following Payo for a bit. I know this is what he's wanted for a while. And I figured it was something the ponies would want too, because a year ago, like I said, they were begging for it.
Thank you, Jim Ryan, on retiring while PlayStation is on top. Something Phil Spencer can never achieve when he retires.
Oh hush, you're just upset that Phil Spencer has outlasted Jim, while also looking far better at 55 years old than Jim Ryan did when he was 55. My god, Jim has looked old forever. But yes, Jim, thank you for all the boneheaded decisions you made before leaving. Yeah, none of the money you made the company is gonna go in my pockets, and instead, the success you created for the company is going to cost me more of my own money, but thank you. You made sure PlayStation was at its most expensive before leaving, and we cannot thank you enough. Thank you for making Sony look absolutely pathetic during the whole ABK merger shit. That is something Phil Spencer will most certainly not be able to achieve before he retires.
The Xbox fanboys, your leader and our leader. We are not the same.
Our leader? Our leader! Well, I hate to break it to you, but your leader ditched you halfway in the desert to the promised land. Now you're stuck in an empty desert for miles with no exclusives in sight. Oh wait, what am I saying? There's foam stars up the top. Foam stars. How could I forget foam stars?
If Phil Spencer announced his retirement instead of Jim Ryan, the Xbox around the variant would need a wellness check. Meanwhile, on PlayStation side, it's just another Wednesday. We don't give a f***. Why is that?
Let me get this straight. This obese man thinks Xbox need a wellness check? Please stop. Right now, we're seeing the complete opposite. It's a bloodbath on your side. A civil war within your own hooved brethren. The pony stables are on fire. Jim Ryan's departure after the hacks and after the underwhelming showcase has broken all pony morale. Consumer confidence has plummeted even lower than my monthly game subscriber count. They're concerning themselves with Phil Spencer as we're in the middle of yet another PlayStation hack. Don't worry about Xbox, worry about your personal info being out there. Instead of spending all your time monitoring the state of Xbox, you should spend more time monitoring your glucose levels. Otherwise, you're gonna end up in the hospital begging people for money to get you out again, saltiest. Honestly, this tweet is the absolute worst way to prove to people you don't care. What were you thinking? Jim Ryan stepping down is not just another Wednesday for you. You ain't gonna convince anyone of that when console wars are the first thing on your mind when you hear Jim Ryan is retiring. When your divorce papers get handed to you, are you thinking about Phil Spencer? God, I hope not.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yes, Jim, you're such a hero. Thank you so much for raising PlayStation Plus up to $40 a year. If it wasn't for you making things more expensive on me, Jim, I wouldn't even know that I didn't need food or electricity or gas in my car. Thank you so much for showing me that my dollar is worth less and less by the day. Unlike Phil Spencer here, giving me more games for my money, more backwards compatibility, more options on how to access or play my games. Obviously, what we all need during an economy crisis like this are the awfully generous price hikes Jim Ryan is providing. You know what? We're going to build a monument for this hero, and we're gonna put a nice plaque on it and engrave the hero who put demos behind a paywall. A true pioneer of his time.
Jim Ryan retires. PlayStation remains the same. Phil Spencer retires. The entire brand goes with him.
Well, you forgot to put retire in quotes there, King. But then again, based on your grammar, I highly doubt you know what a quotation mark is. Look, all I can say is, I don't see Phil Spencer wanting to step down because he has to travel for work. That's a Jim thing. Apparently having to travel for meetings is too much for a CEO like Jim Ryan. Meanwhile, Phil Spencer's traveling to Japan and not even complaining about it. Now, all I can say is, if PlayStation remains the same right now after Jim Ryan leaves, then it's gonna be a big problem. That Japanese market better not continue shrinking after he's gone. PlayStation Plus better not continue being an inferior service with no day one releases. That release schedule better not stay the same for sure. And Sony better not continue to get hacked. You see, the whole point of Jim leaving is to ensure PlayStation doesn't remain exactly the same way it is right now. Consumer expectations are that things will get better for them. So you better hope things don't stay the same. You sound like the governor to every single major Democratic city right now. Honestly, it has not been a good year for the ponies, has it? And yet at every single conceivable L, they managed to somehow spin it as a massive W. But at the very least, I'm glad to see there are some ponies out there who aren't suddenly grifting for Jim Ryan and pretending as if he was great At least some of them realized that while he was good for the company, he wasn't good for their wallets. But unfortunately, per usual, there's still a good chunk of them who care more about the company image than their own enjoyment. The civil war that's been unleashed by this news is amazing. But you know what? King Thrash is right about one thing, and one thing only. Things will remain the same. Ponies are still going to be unhinged. They're still going to console war. They're still going to think about Phil Spencer and the Xbox brand 24/7. And they're still going to hand over their money to Sony. A new leadership is upon us in a few months, so expect the salt to get even better. So consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing so you can see when it happens. Oh yeah, and turn on that bell notification thingy that YouTube always disables for people. Otherwise, you're gonna miss out on a great high. And I'll see you till then.
Fritongo sucks ass.